getting seated. We will allow each candidate up to a minute to introduce themselves here shortly. We will have a Q&A session where the same question is going to be posed to each candidate, and each candidate will have up to 1 minute to answer that question. After we're all done, after we've gone through our prepared questions and the questions from the audience, there will be a time for you all to also have a closing statement for up to a minute. If you do finish your answer within the designated time, you can just end it there. We won't be banking any time or anything like that. We're going to keep it kind of casual. So we'll just move on to the next candidate when you're done. Please try to adhere to the timer because we are, of course, on a time limit. Maria is our timekeeper, and she will let you know when you have 10 seconds left within your minute time to respond. Let's see, as I said, we do have some prepared questions from the Doraville Chamber of Commerce. We'll have 7 questions that we've prepared and would like for the candidates to answer. And then I know many of you have already submitted some questions in advance, but there are some index cards up front and some pens, so if you come up with some additional questions, feel free to grab one, pass it over to Maria, and we will try to get through as many of those as possible. We will start the Q&A session with Mayor Geierman. We'll start, the order is as it is on the ballot. So we have our 2 candidates for mayor and our candidates for city council. We'll start with Mayor Geierman for question number 1. Mr. Hart, you'll receive question 1 after him, and so on and so forth, and then we'll rotate with the next question. So Mr. Hart, you would get that question first, and so on and so forth. So we'll do a little rotation, so everybody will have an opportunity to speak first, and also then have some time to think about their answers. Let's see, I think that is about it. Try not to respond to any questions unless you're asked by the moderator or the host. And if we can all just avoid referencing other candidates, you just of course want to speak about yourself. So I think that is about it as far as our rules or guidelines. And yes, we are recording from the back here. So this will be recorded and available on the Doraville Chamber of Commerce Facebook page once the session is complete. All right, and so let's get started with some introductions. And Mayor Geierman, if you will start, you've got up to a minute to introduce yourself, please.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Joseph Geierman. I've been your mayor for the last 3.5 years. It's been a great honor. Over the course of that time, we've accomplished a lot of the things that I originally set out to do. We've rezoned Beaufort Highway and in fact our entire city to align with our master plan for our city, which means that hopefully we'll see the kind of growth that we as a community have said we want to see in the places where we want to see it. Obviously, we have a lot of new developments happening that have begun to take place under my leadership. Assembly, just this year, NBC Universal has taken possession and started moving in September. We obviously have a lot of new development along Beaufort Highway. There's the Rangewater development happening, the new Kmart development that's going up. And I would be actually happy. When I started, we've accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to do, but I also think that we've gotten to a good place with our city, and I want to just make sure that we have that additional time to continue moving forward. So that's the time, but thank you for hosting the Doraville Chamber of Commerce too.
Thank you for being here. Mr. Tom Hart, who's also running for mayor.
My name is Tom Hart. I'm running for the office of mayor. I would like to thank the chamber for taking the time to put this on, and for the residents and business owners taking time out of their busy day to come up and pose a few questions and try to find out where the city's going in the future. And the reason why I'm running for office, it wasn't intended. It was that the fact that my neighbors and friends called me up and said, we're concerned about the future of the city. We need somebody to speak for us. And that is that 95% of the city that doesn't have a voice. They pay the taxes every day, they go to work, but they seem to be shut out of the system. I want to open up City Hall again. It's a part-time position, but it needs to be a full-time mayor in an office up in City Hall. I'm going to reopen the office, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
And Mr. Andy Yeoman, who's running unopposed for District 1, Post 2.
Sure. Thank you to the Chamber for having this forum, and I look forward to the conversation that we have tonight. Again, my name is Andy Yeoman, and I'm your District 1 council member, which is the Tilly Mill Winters Chapel area of the city. And I ran in 2019 because I believe that the city needed a renaissance. The voters obviously overwhelmingly agreed by sweeping in a new council 4 years ago. And today, some of those same people are back asking us to reconsider. And so I'd ask you guys to do exactly that, to consider all the candidates that are running tonight and determine if the trajectory of the city is on a good path, to obviously re-elect those that are on the council or best align with the people that are running for the open seat that are best aligned with the existing council, or if there's something you want to see changed. When that evaluation is done, I look forward to answering any of the questions that you guys have either tonight or after tonight about the ideas that I have, and go from there. So 4 years ago, we were a city that the businesses were passing to go to Norcross and Duluth, and finally, as the mayor mentioned, there's a lot of things that are happening in our city for once, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
And Mr. Warren Simmons, also running unopposed, District 1, Post 3.
Thank you, Danielle. I just want to say thank you to the Chamber for hosting this and everyone that's showed up and everyone on Zoom. My name is Warren Simmons, and I just finished my first year here on council, and I'm running again because I want to be the voice of you people here and everyone listening, and to get everything that you guys are concerned about or want in the city and bring it to council and bring it up for a vote. In the past, I was on the URA board, and I was on the planning commission, and I helped with some in a sense, some of the development that is taking place now, and this past year I helped push through some of it as well. And I want to keep seeing Doraville grow as it is, and I think it's heading in the right direction, and like to be a part of that. So thank you.
And Ms. Carrie Armistead, you are running for District 2, Post 2.
I'm Carrie Armistead. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for coming. I moved to Doraville in 2017. I fell in love with it, like so many of us did, and I got involved pretty much right away. I'm the recent president of the Northwoods Area Neighborhood Association. I am the secretary of the Friends of Doraville Library Board. I'm the city's appointee on the DeKalb County Public Library Board of Trustees. I was recognized as a Doraville difference maker twice in 2022, once as a member of the Sesquicentennial Committee and once for my individual contributions. Professionally, I have a master's degree in library and information science, and I've worked as a law librarian for the past decade. So I'm an experienced legal researcher. I'm accustomed to managing multi-million-dollar budgets and contracts. I am also, as all librarians are, curious and open-minded. I work well with others, and I'm excited to use these skills and my knowledge about our city to serve as your next council member. Thank you.
And Mr. Ben Crawford, also running for District 2, Post 2.
Thank you. My name is Ben Crawford. I've been your neighbor in Doraville since the late 80s. My wife and I have raised 3 beautiful daughters within the city. I helped stop a trash transfer station from coming into the city. I got 750 signatures from residents and businesses to start the first Doraville Planning Commission, and I served on the commission for approximately 6 years. I've helped start 2 art shows within the city, the first 2 art shows. I've been a Friends of the Library, and I've also helped with many library sales that have happened in the city, book sales. I've been with the state for 27 years. The last 11 years, I've been Chief Inspector, Senior Manager under the State Fire Marshal's Office, overseeing the safety inspection program for the whole state. I've been involved with international corporations, national corporations, on projects with all the stakeholders from beginning to end. And I think my skills will be much served on City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one additional candidate for District 2, Post 2, MD Nasser, who wasn't able to join us this evening. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. As I said, we do have 7 prepared questions from the chamber. And let's see. Mayor Geierman, would you like to start with the first one? It is, what are your 2 top or 3 priorities if, well, you are elected, but if you're elected to continue in your role? Your top 2 or 3 priorities.
All right, well, and we have a minute to do this. I think my top priority is really focusing on the downtown redevelopment. You know, one of the challenges that Doraville has always had is that we have been spliced up by all of these different pieces of infrastructure. We have 285, we have the railroad tracks, we have the tank farms, and they split our neighborhoods up, and even our downtown is sort of this big open area, but there's not really a lot of connective tissue here that pulls the residents together. Having a downtown that becomes a real draw for people, I think, will be a positive for our city. My second priority that sort of ties into that is to improve the general connectivity between our neighborhoods and to the downtown, so that it is easier to get from Oak Cliff to downtown, to the MARTA station, from Tilling Mill over here. You know, every day I talk to people who want bike paths, etc. And so that's the other piece, but it's really to make it more walkable downtown for our Doraville for all of us.
Thank you.
The first thing we have to do is open up City Hall again so we have a conversation with the people that live here and the businesses live here. Second of all, we need to lower the business taxes in the community. But more importantly, we have to put the city back together. I work with the governor's office and GDOT to do all the connectivity in the city, all the traffic lights. We did a 6-month study on the city. All those plans, because of our previous administration here, were thrown in the trash can. We can start day one reconnecting the city, walkable, drivable, and put the city back together that was cut up by all the transportation sources like GDOT and MARTA, etc. We could start day one. We don't have to spend millions of dollars planning the plan. We already have those plans in-house. We're going to save the city money and this start marching forward to a quality development. Thank you.
So, 4 years ago, we were a city that hadn't paved a road in 2 years, and the priority that I've had over the last 4 years that still needs a lot of work and priorities in the city is getting back to the basics of what it is to run a city, and that means we've got a lot of work. We've done a lot of work on our parks. We've started a pavement management program. There's never enough money to do everything. But the next 4 years, I really think that we've got a new park master plan for Honeysuckle that's coming up. We need to discuss the facilities that are there. We need to figure out if we're going to build a downtown, what we're going to do to replace things like the pool that are currently in the downtown. And so those are things that will be a priority of mine to listen to the community and bring those items forward, because I don't know that for sure. As a member of the current council, I'll admit that we've maybe not done the best job of reaching out to the community and getting your guys' input on those things.
So I don't even know where to start. Everything's important to me, you know. So, but if I had to pick 2 or 3, downtown redevelopment definitely is one, and that involves a lot. Like as Councilmember Yeoman said, with the pool and everything within downtown, reaching out to the community, finding out what we want downtown, and getting their input, and making sure we do something that is what Doraville residents in the community need, that helps benefit Doraville as a whole. So that would be number 1. Actually, 1 of 3. Also, like helping, I ran on helping the pet community with vaccinations, education, and all that. And within this past year, we had a healthy pet clinic in Honeysuckle Park. Had a record turnout of 885 pets vaccinated. I would continue on with that and help getting that out to the community of vaccinating, educating their pets. And then also, third one, keep on working on trails and sidewalks and connecting our city within, and also connecting our city to other cities. Thank you.
to echo my neighbors, but one of my top priorities is also the downtown redevelopment. I'm very excited about that and very interested in making that kind of a new heart of Doraville that really reflects the needs of our community, which would include library services. If the referendum does pass for the library services to be in that new building, there are still a lot of moving parts after that point with the county involvement in the library, so I'm looking forward to helping to shepherd that process. My other main priority is something that Andy mentioned also, improved communication between the city and the residents, both residents to the city about what they want and the city back to the residents about what is going on in the community. I think more communication is always better, different methods of outreach, different languages, different forums for doing that is really important to make sure that people know what's going on and their voices are being heard.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm not late to this rodeo, so I've been a community activist and advocate for the citizens of the city for many, many years. And I will, for one, hold meetings every other month with the communities of Doraville to hear their input, to hear their concerns, and find out what it is they want to see done within the city. That's my first priority. My second priority would be the downtown district. I think the city should move to redevelop there, continue with the development, but I think we should have a community that's live, work, and play. We look at the communities around us. There's a big difference on their approach to downtown sections and areas they develop. They have restaurants, they have stores, they have apartments above the stores. It's just, it needs to be a little more focused approach to what it's gonna look like and how we perceive it. And on those things there, it's important that the community is involved in the decisions that are made. And I believe my experience will help shepherd us forward in that direction. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Hart, we'll start with you on the second question. And the second question is, what do you propose to support the business community and or economic development? Did everyone hear me? Need me to repeat that?
They need to hear for they can't hear on the Zoom.
Okay. Okay, so support the business community, I said before, you're gonna have to lower the taxes and provide services for them. Dumping taxes like dumpster fees and all that thing on the business community. And the biggest thing that'll support economic development is for the city to start making quality decisions. Do things where you raise the bar, expect more from the community. Construct things like you're supposed to be constructed. The business community respects quality and quality management. City Hall does not have quality management. It doesn't have a building official. They can't walk into City Hall and have a conversation. There's no mayor's office, nobody to talk to. They don't connect to the business community, and they filled all the retail spaces on Beeford Highway with wholesalers and massage parlors. Business community doesn't respect the city, and when you have respect from the development committee, then you're gonna have quality development. Thank you.
Yeah, they said they couldn't hear.
Yes, thank you.
So again, the question is what we would do to support the business of the community.
I'll repeat it.
Okay, 'cause I was hearing things about dumpster fees and everything else. Businesses should pay their own dumpster fee. I'm not sure what that's about. But the
You want me to repeat the
no,
whole
I got
question?
it.
You got it?
So in terms of economic development, we have to create a city that promotes economic development, and what I mean by promote is creating a culture of positive things in the city. I happen to go to City Hall a lot, and it's always open, and it's first I've heard that it's closed. And we need people in the Economic Development Office, and the mayor's done a good job of leading these things that come to us. Yes, we're a city that is full of 1960s shopping centers that is not Class A retail space. Slowly but surely, those will be redeveloped or repurposed, and I hate to toot the horn, but we're starting to see a turn of that as some of these things turn over. We're finally seeing some name brand name brand, if you will. Restaurants fill the spaces at Pine Tree Plaza and things like that. Yes, it's a chicken wing franchise, but those are different things than we've seen before, and we'll continue to see that. I've met with a developer a year and a half ago that was trying to buy the Burlington Shopping Center, and he had a great plan, and he had great tenants actually to come into that, and the city was very supportive in working with them. Unfortunately, he didn't get to buy it. They sold it to somebody else that wants to keep it very much the same because it is a cash cow. They're 100% leased. They're making money on these shopping centers. So the city can't kick out a business owner because they're running a wholesale. We have to slowly make those things kind of move out of the community.
So I think my point of view and I think some stuff that we have done as a council has worked, the comprehensive plan, redoing the zoning, the master plan, zoning every parcel correctly so it works on a business aspect. If you have your master plan and zoning correctly, the businesses see that. You have the correct businesses that you want in the certain areas, then they're gonna come. Also, we have streamlined the permitting process. Of course, it's never perfect. We're working through that, but we have helped streamline the permit process, which helps the businesses come in, get permits quicker, start building better, and put good quality businesses here in Doraville. And we've also helped with tax incentives that helps the businesses come in, but does not hurt Doraville with these tax incentives. So I would say just keep on doing what we're doing with the tax incentives. Our master plan, I think, is where it needs to be, and the businesses will come. It's just taking time, and now we're starting to see the fruit of everything. Thank
you. Is this working? Thank you. Thank you. I agree that the city has made good strides in this area. They've worked on straightforward permitting and smarter zoning and the tax incentives that have brought us things like the assembly project. Those are all great strides. I would agree that we should continue moving forward in those areas, and that as Doraville starts to change, that's gonna naturally attract different businesses, more businesses, maybe some marquee business names. But I would also say, in the excitement of attracting new business, we don't wanna neglect our existing small business owners, small and large business owners. But one of the things that makes Doraville so special is our unique small businesses, and we don't want those people to be priced out of their real estate or to otherwise feel like they're being ignored in the face of new development. Thank you.
I tend to agree that the way to attract new businesses is to have a thought process. The city needs to have a thought process. The council has to have a thought process where you're showing them what it is that you can offer as a community for a business to come in here. Having the GM plant redeveloped as a movie studios and the other things that will come in there because of the comprehensive land use plan are helpful. But those people that come in there, like other people have said, they're gonna have wants and needs that we right now don't supply. You can say, well, they'll just come our way. We have to be proactive as a city, and we have to look at those things and supply them for the people that are gonna be coming in to work over the movie studios over there that are gonna be the people that come into the city. There'll be a lot of new faces that show up, and we can be proactive on that and supply the types of business that are gonna attract them. Thank you.
Well, I think that we've done a lot already to try to make the city a better place for people to do business. I know that we have instituted a lot of streamlining in terms of processes when it comes to permitting and business licenses. And nothing's perfect. We have a business engagement manager now who speaks Spanish and is able to make connections with people in the business community, help get the city engaged with our business community. We've done partnerships with the Doraville Chamber of Commerce. You know, I also, you know, just make a pitch for why the position of mayor is important. When Gray Television wanted to come to Doraville, they wanted to meet with the mayor. They wanted to make sure that this was a place where they could actually get their deal done. And you want to have somebody who's credible and able to represent the city well to do that. And so I'm proud of what the city has accomplished. I know we can do more, but I think we are on the right track right now.
Yeoman, if you'll start with answering question number 3. If you could bring one major new business to Doraville, what would it be and why?
Well, if anybody says Publix, I'm gonna boo. Let's just pick something other than Publix. But you know, one business that we could bring to the city that would, we talk a lot about work, play, and walkability, and the trails and sidewalks and all that stuff. But none of that is as important. I'm not gonna say it's not important, but none of that is as important. If there's not a place where people can actually live in the community and possibly work in the community. We don't have a job center in the city anymore. That left when GM was the only, it wasn't just for Doraville, it was a regional job center for all the Atlanta area. So when the movie studio is coming in, that's gonna be about 3,000 people working in our city. Those are 3,000 people working and eating lunch and spending money in our city. We need more of those. We don't have another 120 acres to spend, but there will be some opportunities at the assembly site to have some more office tenants and things like that where people can work. And it doesn't just have to be office, it can be skilled things that we're gonna see spin off of the movie studios. Y'all, I'm telling you, we haven't seen the beginning of the jobs that the Great Television is gonna create in the city. It's gonna take over, they're gonna be leasing space all over the city for the things that support that. And we haven't seen that yet because they're not doing the grand opening for another couple weeks, and then there's the strike that they're on. So all those things are going to start materializing. We're going to not recognize the city in another 4 years about the types of businesses and stuff that we're seeing.
Well, I'm glad Mr. Yeoman said not to say Publix, so I guess I might say Trader Joe's then. But with what we have out there with Great Television and NBC, I think a hotel, a high-end hotel would be great here to help bring in revenue and bring in some tax dollars to the city as well as Trader Joe's. So I do think both of those would be great businesses here in Doraville, but for the latter on Trader Joe's, we need to work on our density for them probably to bring it here to Doraville. But the answer to this question for where we stand right now with what we have coming and what we have developed, I would think a nice high-end hotel would be good to bring here to Doraville to help us prosper with Great Television coming in.
I do love Trader Joe's, that's a good one. But I guess I think about the things that I go outside of the city to spend money in now, venues. Well, the first thing that came to mind was a music venue, some kind of entertainment venue. I know there's going to be an amphitheater at the Assembly development, but I don't know if that's an indoor performance space. I think would be a really great thing to have in Doraville. I'd also love to see some more brew pubs and places like I go to in Chambly, and I wish that I could spend that money in Doraville. And I've heard a lot of people say grocery stores, Publix, Kroger. That is clearly on people's minds. We would have to be wary of the competition with our existing grocery stores, but that's definitely something that I think would be a popular decision. Thank you.
The things that I'd like to see would be coffee shop, perhaps I know we have coffee shops here, possibly coffee tea shops, more mom and pop things that people would want to come into the city for. A grocery store, demographic wise, may not be something with the competition that's around, may not be something that would be feasible, but it's a thought process that we need to look at. And one other thing that's not really a business to bring in the city, a real big advocate of putting some kind of fire station right on the corner of that GM property. We have no coverage for our homes, but the fire stations are around us. The one at Peachtree DeKalb needs to stay down there. We have jets down there. We have a tank farm right up the street. So I'd like to see that and say, it's not a business, it's kind of a government, and everybody likes to call government business. But I'd like to see a nice fire station for the city. It's about time we got one.
I think one of Doraville's strengths is already its business community. I think we have a lot of amazing businesses. And as Councilmember Yeoman mentioned, with NBC Universal coming to town, we are going to see an explosion of people coming to Doraville wanting to spend money, and there's going to be an add-on of businesses catering to those people as well. You know, rezoning Buford Highway wasn't just about like rezoning Buford Highway. It was about making sure that we can have denser development along this strip that was previously just commercial strip malls. And by doing that and adding density to our city, we will be able to see more businesses like the grocery stores that people ask for, like you know, different, you know, if you want a chain restaurant, like there probably will be more chain restaurants too. I like Doraville the way it is in terms of, you know, the business community that we have, but I do think that by adding density to our city, we are going to have more diversity of what we can go and what everyone can enjoy. So I think we are on that path, and I am excited to see what happens in the next 4 years. I agree with Councilmember Yeoman that we are going to be surprised at how much changes, and it's important to have good leadership at the helm when that happens.
The major new business that Doraville needs has already arrived. It's when Great Communications bought the GM site. That's an economic engine that's going to drive the city forward. And we need to build businesses and housing and developments in the city that complement that development. 400 square foot apartments in density do not complement that development. Discretionary income drives the economic engine. We need middle and upper income housing. We have to protect the environment here, and we have to build a city where people that work at the GM development want to live. There are so many spin-offs from that production studio that will completely fill the economic engine of the city. The problem with Doraville, it keeps on putting things like housing projects right in the middle of their development, which resulted in a year delay because we had to go through lawsuits. Doraville City Hall needs to get out of the way. We've got an engine already that's fired up. Let's move forward with quality development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, candidates, for the first round. We are going to proceed with additional questions. And we'd like to go ahead and start with Mr. Simmons with our next question. If the city were to receive a grant, what would you do with it and why?
So if we got a grant, I guess it would depend on what are the stipulations on what we can do with that grant. You know, we have received 2 grants recently from Senator Ossoff's office for pedestrian safety on Buford Highway and a lot of road safety stuff. So that's what we've used it for. It specifically stipulates what you can and cannot use it for. So depending on what the grant is, I mean, I would hope it's for working on our sidewalks, pedestrian safety, and connectivity. A lot of that is what our grants have been for. We also got grants for our parks, and we use those grants for the parks and upgrading lighting. We're working on upgrading restrooms or adding restrooms to some parks. So the grants have been very helpful in what we been able to do. And actually, I think we got another grant recently to help connect New Peachtree from Oak Cliff coming down to the MARTA station. So I would do what's within our guidelines.
Great, thank you.
I agree. If this is an imaginary grant that I could make be anything I wanted it to, that's fun. So I think I would use it for starters to build one of those prohibitively expensive bridges across 285 or across Buford Highway that we talk about wanting. Again, to increase connectivity, I think that's really important. Maybe build some more pieces of the Peachtree Creek Greenway to connect our neighborhoods together, to connect our neighborhoods to the assembly site.
yeah, I guess the sky's the limit. But I think also investing in our infrastructure in our neighborhoods, if we had all the money in the world, we could do a lot of those projects that often get delayed.
I guess it's nice to have a grant like that. So the first thing I would do is I'd probably add some kind of security lights to parks that are unsafe for women to walk and perhaps get raped. We had a park where a woman got raped in. And I'd make sure we added security videos over there connected to the police department. And that would be part of that grant. Another part of that grant, from this wish list grant we get, is I'd go ahead and add some elevators over there by the staircase that leads to the GM property over there. So people could come into our city, take order into our city, they could hop on a couple of elevators, glass back elevators, so they're safe that way. Police can see people on the elevators. They take them down to street level and they just walk right into the GM property over there. So that's one way to connect ourselves from upper level Doraville down to street level GM property. That's what I would use the grant money for. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, since I've been in office for the last 3.5 years, I'll talk a little bit about the grants that we have gotten, which, you know, is a small city. We can't do a lot of the extra things besides paving roads and, you know, maintaining our existing infrastructure without grants. So I went up to Washington, D.C. and was part of a group meeting with Senator Ossoff's office and was able to present to them the need for improved pedestrian safety on Buford Highway. His office worked with us for the better part of a year, and at the end of that, they were able to get our grant request for $1.5 million into the federal budget, which got passed, and the city is now going through all the steps that the federal process requires to be able to make those few safety improvements. You know, it's expensive to do a lot of this stuff that we're looking at, and the city is not going to be able to do it without grants. And that's why it's important to have people elected who can build those relationships and go to our federal and state government and get the grants that our community needs.
I had this conversation with a former police chief about critical needs of the city, and one would be a public service center where we would have the police department and a fire and rescue. We're the only city in northern DeKalb County does not have fire and rescue. And put that in a location on New Peachtree Road, that would free up the 8-acre park we have downtown. So it's killing two birds with one stone. You get a critically needed service in the city, and your 8-acre park that was, and they put a police station in the middle of it. So that's what I would use for the grant. Thank you.
So, I like this question too, hypothetical money. And the first thing that would have to happen would be a needs assessment. And I'm gonna guess what the needs assessment will come back for. And the number one need that this community has, I believe, is the horrible condition of our schools in this city. And whatever we could do as a city to come up with a grant to put an actual facility in this city that children that live in this community would be very proud to attend and would help the community, would help our residential neighborhoods to actually bring families back into this community. There's a reason, Tom, that they're building $2,200 a month apartments, is because, you know, small apartments for single people, because they're attracting people, we're attracting people to this community that don't have kids. And that's sustainable for a while, but it's not sustainable for a thriving community in the long term. And so that's what I would try, whatever possible way, to spend money on if we had a fantasy grant.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for that. Our next question is in regards to what is your overall vision for the city? And it's a two-parter. Also, in addition to what is your overall vision, but also what would be your key accomplishment during your term? Okay, and so we will start with Ms. Armstead.
When I was trying to come up with a campaign slogan, I thought I'm committed to a connected community. So I think my overall vision for the city is that the different neighborhoods, the different parts of the city, the different demographic elements of the city would feel more connected. I think Mayor Geierman mentioned, you know, we're so divided geographically by 285 and Buford Highway and all of our various communication issues. So I see a more connected community, and I already forgot the second part of your question.
And the second part would be the key accomplishments for the city council during your term.
So the city council needs to be smart about spending fantasy grants and actual grants to help bring these things to reality. We need to be thoughtful planners and take things in logical steps. We need to make sure that we are bringing the right people to the table to have these discussions and ask the right questions. I think that's one of the things that I could assist with, is just the value of gathering information before you make these big decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Well, my campaign is Together We Succeed. And the reason for the title of that, what I chose for that title of my campaign, Together We Succeed, is the connectivity between all neighborhoods, all of us working together. It's important that we all do work together as a city to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So anything that happens within the city is a group effort. I feel like I am a person that can work with everyone on council, embrace them, work with them, find common ground. I have lots of experience. And the second part of your question there would be that what I feel we can accomplish as a community is bringing everybody, getting everybody involved, letting everybody know that they are part of the city, seeing the changes that have happened so far, and the changes that are going to happen are things that they're a part of, and they'll feel connected and they'll feel good about living here in Doraville. Thank you.
So, what I want to accomplish in my second term is really an extension of what I wanted to accomplish in my first. I first decided to run for office at all because I served on the comprehensive plan committee back in 2016 with Councilmember Kuntz and many other people. And I was taken with the vision of a city that is more connected, that is, a place where I can age in place and I can get everything that I need right here. And, I don't know at the end of 4 years that we're going to be at that place, that our comprehensive plan says, but I do think that we will have a more connected and a city that is moving in that direction. And every action that you want to see takes a lot longer than you wish it did, and a lot more work, but you need people who are willing to go in and do that work. That's why I've put myself before you before and now, and why I want to continue to be your mayor.
In 2007, Georgia Municipal Association studied the city of Doraville as the most efficiently run city in the state of Georgia. We ran the whole city with qualified individuals with 7 people. Now we have a cast of 40 people, they can't even answer the telephone. We want to bring City Hall back with qualified individuals, each one of those positions certified planner, we need a building official, we need to put the city back together with efficiently run staff. First thing, you don't have to build 3 more buildings to hold more people that are not doing a job. They've subcontracted all the jobs out to other people, they do all the billing outside, they can't even cut a payroll check anymore. So let's get the police, we can cut the budget right now by $3 or $4 million, just getting the city run properly. Thank you.
Sure. So I guess just to start, it's come up a couple different times tonight. The city has an engineer as the building official. He's a PE, which is the highest level that you can get as an engineer. In fact, there's 2 of them. So I'm not sure where I'm hearing now the city hall is closed and we don't have competent staff. The planner has a master's degree. But anyway, the overall vision for the city is, as we move forward, I think about when I moved to the city in 2015, and I attended my first council meeting. And it was drama. There was drama up there. And the overall vision that I have for the city, and what I'd ask you guys to consider as you're thinking about making these choices, is do we want to be a city that has a positive outlook and people attend the council meeting, that they see competent, well-mannered people up there making those decisions? Or do we want to go back to a time where there were, council members fighting with each other and doing ethics complaints and things like that? And I hope we continue on the same path.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, no problem at all. What is your overall vision for the city? And if elected or re-elected, would you like for it to be your key accomplishment during your term?
Okay, thank you. So the answer to the first question, I'd say smart growth, but a taste of country in the city. I guess that'd be the best way to explain it right there. We're helping Doraville grow, but we're not so busy where you can't go down your own street and walk and cars are flying by. So I'd say smart growth with but a taste of country in the city for that first one. And if I was re-elected, we've been working on connectivity, as everyone else says. We've been working on sidewalks. We've been working on paths. We've been working on getting grants for all this. It costs a lot of money and it takes time. And what we've been using, all the funds we can when we budget, that's what we've been using it for. Working on getting these developers to come when they build these communities. We've been telling them that they need to work on the path and sidewalk to help connect it. We've been footing the bill to them. So we've been working on that as council through what we've been doing for the past few years. Thank you.
We'll start with Mr. Crawford with our next question. Do you have any thoughts or plans on how to help build a skilled workforce?
Good question. One way, and actually it's kind of keys into the department I work for now, we're having a hard time hiring skilled inspectors. We're real hard time. We have 10 vacant positions statewide. So it's not just, Doraville will suffer from skilled workforce, it's all across the state. So first of all, you have to establish the need. What skill set do you need within the city of Doraville? That would be the first thing I do, is establish what jobs are gonna be available, what kind of skills are gonna be needed. And you could have a training center here, or you could partner with local community colleges and local tech schools to see what, to see the training. That's the kind of training you can get. The other thing is you've got production studios here, and Atlanta's known as another Hollywood, basically. So there are facilities for training of electricians and grips and all kinds of people that will work at the studios. So I'd look to partner with the studio over there for training people they may need also. Thank you very much.
All right, well, there's a few things. First, I'm just going to touch on it, but Councilmember Coons worked very hard to try to get a technical school to Doraville, which makes a lot of sense to try to get our residents who are younger a path to some of those technical careers. We're still working on it, but I think that is a good vision for our city. Also, we are on the brink of having DeKalb County Schools start working on building a new high school in our community. There's been no high school here for the last 30 plus years, and this is huge. And so the city council does not control what the school board does, but my job as your mayor is to be lobbying them every chance I get to make sure that that project does not fall off the list and that it stays on track, because we need a high school in our city so that kids don't have to be bused 40 minutes to Cross Keys. And I think that will make a big difference on who wants to move here as well. So there's a lot of things that we can do. You know, those are two of the things that we've been working on.
The GM site with Great Communications has a lot of spin-offs from machine shops to woodworkers. They have job skills that it's a program like a European program where they actually start from the basement and work their way up. They build these job skills. Having the high school here will be a big thing if it's done the right manner. But the biggest thing is that the city of Doraville has closed a lot of businesses here where people build those fundamental skills in. They want to get rid of the body shops, you want to get rid of the repair shops, you want to get rid of all these little skill building jobs that people build these. Not everybody goes to school. You know, got a master's degree, but that doesn't, my life experiences and the fact that I started 3 corporations are the job skills I bring to bear when I bring these things to the city. So we need to have those businesses that allow these young people, whether it's in computers or whether it's working with their hands, is to be able to have a job in the city, and you don't want to just fill it full of apartments. That doesn't bring job skills. Thank you.
Sure, so I was actually going to mention the same thing that the mayor did. The mayor and I, 2 or 3 weeks ago, met with the chief operating officer of the DeKalb County Schools, and of course, and so I guess I'll give you guys a sneak peek. They're going to start community meetings this month in October for the new high school, and there will be the next month and through November. And as we were looking through those plans, of course, you know, I was the wonky person looking at the number of parking spaces and things like that. And it was the mayor actually at the end of the table that said, how are you going to interface with the community and partner with Gray Television Studios and bring some of these technical skills to the businesses in our community. So he's really to be commended for that. He's already done it. I was in the meeting when it happened. The answer to that question really is that I can't stress enough the importance of the new high school and being able to partner with our businesses to bring these technical skills. When I was in high school, there was shop class, that was it. And I didn't particularly like shop class, so I think it's kind of cool that these schools are partnering with multinational companies now to do things like lights and sounds and videography and things like that, all skills that I would have loved to learn when I was in high school.
So thank you. I was gonna echo what the mayor said too about the tech school and what Councilmember Kuntz did, bringing that tech school in. We've had talks with them and trying to get this tech school here to Doraville, because my thought process and sort of how I've seen it happen, as well as the high school, if you have a good school here, the people are raised here, they grow up here, they go to school here, whether they go off and come back, they're gonna come back and bring those skills here. They're gonna wanna live where they grew up. So if you have good schools, you have a good tech school, a good high school, that's gonna help keep good skills and a good workforce here in Doraville. Another way also is as we did with the master comp plan with the zoning, and it helps bring in the businesses that helps bring the skills that we want here in Doraville. And then if you're talking about maybe city staff on skills for here in Doraville, it's just incentives, market rate for employment, and of course that costs money, but we're trying to stay competitive and keep a skilled workforce here at city staff. Thank you.
I agree. I would love to see a vocational school in Doraville. I think we are the perfect site for it. I would also like to explore the possibilities of encouraging our local businesses to start apprenticeship programs and things like that. Maybe there are some incentives we could give to that. But I think one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet is that keeping library service in our community provides such a base for a skilled workforce, as long as they stick around. Libraries are smart investments. They support literate, engaged, and informed citizens. So as long as we have that service in our community, that's a great start for a lot of kids and adults as well. And that's something that the city can control, unlike the schools, although I am encouraged to hear that about the school system. Thank you.
Thank thank you so much for all of our candidates. We really appreciate all of the answers and responses that you have provided. At this time, we're going to take a short break, just so that we have some questions from our audience that we are going to go over in just a few minutes, but we'd like to take just a short break, if that's okay with you. And then if we can do about 3 minutes, maybe 5, I guess, give you time to go to the restroom, get something to eat, and then we will come back in 5 minutes, okay? Thank you, guys.
Consolidate some questions, so hopefully everyone's questions will be answered. We're trying to get everything tackled. So if you don't hear your exact words, just know it's probably part of another question as well. So we'll start back with Mayor Geierman. These are questions from the audience, and the first was, what 3 words would you use to describe yourself, and/or what are your core values? And if you'll give me just a moment to pass this before we get started.
So, I guess I'd say I'm collaborative, I'm flexible, and I'm reasonable. I think that the reason I ran for office is because I felt like we needed someone who could really bring our council together and help us move together in a direction as a calming force who wants to listen to everybody. And I'm not there shaping all the policies of the city. It's really a collaborative effort with the council, and you really do need a collaborative leader who's going to listen to everybody. And I think that exemplifies a lot of my core values too. I'm somebody who you can talk to. I'm somebody who the council members can talk to, but hopefully no one feels like I'm bullying them. And even if we disagree on something, I think that we're able to continue to work together. So that's the answer to the question. Thanks.
This question comes up every time. As a scientist, whenever you start a project, you always have a stated purpose. And to bring everybody together in large groups, if they understand what the purpose is, they kind of all work in the same direction. And when I built the sidewalk project on Chestnut, there was a large group of people with 100 different ideas, and you had to coalesce those ideas and distill it down to getting the job done. So I'm used to working with large groups of people. My core values is volunteerism. Since I was a child, my family's always volunteered for a variety of things, medical facilities, etc. But when I started the Kiwanis Club here, was to bring people together and volunteers together. And this is a part-time job for the mayor. It's a part-time mayor, but I consider it a full-time position, and I will volunteer my time full-time to open up City Hall and the office of City Hall. Thank you.
I would say the number one would be inquisitive. I'm always one to ask questions, and I'm very inquisitive by nature in terms of, and which goes into the second thing I would say is analytical. Almost to a fault. I annoy some of my council members sometimes because I'm very over-analytical, and I'm actually, a lot of times I'm more concerned about the process than I am the outcome. Because I think that too many times we lose focus of how we reach outcomes, and sometimes we just make decisions without going through a process, and that just comes through my work experience and things that I've done in the past. And lastly, I'll admit that I'm a little bit hard-headed. And that's good and bad, because it means I'm passionate, and I'm very passionate about the things that I'm concerned about and the things that I care about, and I'm running for city council because I am passionate and I do care about this city. And if that comes across a little hard-headed sometimes, that is don't blame my heart for that.
So, with me, I'd go with kind, logical, and then open/team player. I guess would be 3 for me on this. I'm very kind and open to listening to others. You know, everyone has a different view, and my take on it is you get the best outcome by hearing a whole lot of people's views and putting them all together, and you come up with the best plan from that. So you got to be able to listen to everyone, take what they say into consideration, then you can come up with the best plan from that. Logical, well, I'm a general contractor. I definitely find the most efficient, best way to get from point A to point B. So I think that's sort of self-explanatory there for me. And then open and team player goes back to being kind, just listening to everyone on council. I like everyone's point of view, and it definitely resonates with me and helps dictate some of my thoughts and gives me different aspects and views of coming to the decision I make. Thank you.
I've been asked this question before, and I was thinking about when I was designing my campaign signs using all those C's, Carrie for Council, that several of my core values start with C also, at the risk of sounding like Sesame Street, but I try to live my life with compassion and with curiosity, and I do value community and collaboration. And the one I could never quite make fit was also Warren's. I do believe in openness to new people, new experiences, and new ideas. I am a flexible thinker, which is not the same as being easily swayed. I do have a lot of strong beliefs, but I'm also open to new information and to changing my mind where that's appropriate. And I also have a very strong sense of justice and fairness, which is probably honed by working with lawyers all day. So I think that would serve me well in getting our citizens what they need. Thank you.
I start out to say that in the 27 years that I've spent working for the state, the thing that they say about me is they say, oh, you got Inspector Crawford today. Holy cow. But what that amounted to is at the end of that, all of that, they'd always look at it and they say, he's fair. That's the one thing they'd always say. I always try to look at things from the opposing point of view, from what the general contractor that wasn't getting the job done correctly, what the owner who was upset about how the job wasn't getting turned over quickly enough. I'd say that I have a perspective there. I also have deep respect for everybody that I've ever worked with. I spent first 20 years of my life working as a welder fitter, but I've learned teamwork, the value of teamwork. The time that I spent working at the state, that teamwork's been important because it matters. Lives matter on account of it. So I feel like I'm somebody that has a lot of integrity and am honest, and I will work hard for you for that. Thank you.
Our next question is, do you think it's important, and again, these questions are questions coming from our audience, do you think it's important to keep our small town character as we grow? And if so, how do you plan to help us do that?
Okay. That's one of the reasons why I ran, is to keep the small town character of the city of Doraville. The city of Doraville originally laid out pretty much properly according to several planners from all over the world, basically. It has a civic block, it has a essential town center on top of the hill, it has this 80-acre park, like a central park in the city. Unfortunately, the environment in Doraville has been compromised in many locations over the city. It's not so much as doing something new to them, it is to uncovering what is already there. The small town, this is a urban center, or that's what they want to make it, but to me, it's a suburban city. It's tree-lined neighborhoods, it's Central Park in the middle of town, it's civic block, It's not about spending money and tearing anything down and getting rid of the pool and getting rid of all the things that we have. It's just uncovering the gem that we already have, and keep the Atlanta Rhythm section, keep the country in the city. That's one of my mottos. Thank you.
So that's a difficult question to answer, because it is important to, there's people obviously moved here recently or a long time ago because of the character of the city. But the character of this whole North DeKalb County and Fulton County as well has changed considerably since this town was built. In the 1960s, Buford Highway, Roswell Road, and Lenox were the commercial corridors that people came to Doraville to shop. That's where the service merchandise was here and the toy store was here. Perimeter Center was a cornfield. I mean, so the landscape in North Lake was a cornfield. The retail centers changed in the area, and so we have to continue to change as a city, because those shopping centers probably aren't coming back to Buford Highway. They'll continue to go to Lenox, they'll continue to go to Perimeter Center, they'll continue to go to the more established retail centers, and we need to focus as a city in how to bring in more rooftops and more people into the community and the small amount of land that we have, so we can make it a better place for the people that do continue to live here, and bring them more amenities and stuff that they're looking for.
So I think I said it earlier, the smart growth, but a taste of country in the city would be a good way to say it. And we've done that through our zoning and our master comp plan. It's exactly what we've been doing, is trying to keep our neighborhoods separate and safe and quiet, and then keeping the businesses in different areas. And that's what we do through our master comp plan and zoning. So I think that's what we have been doing, and that's what I'd like to proceed to keep doing. You know, we do have to grow with the times, but we can do it in a smart way where we do not hurt how Doraville feels, you know, the feel of Doraville. And I think that's what council's been doing, and that's what I'd like to proceed to keep doing. Keep bringing in businesses that help Doraville grow, but keep the safe neighborhoods separate, where you can have your quietness and family fun.
Well, we are part of a major metropolitan area, so I am excited about the opportunities that come with that, and I am excited to see Doraville kind of raised to the level of its neighbors with new businesses and new development. But if you define a small town feel as a place that feels like it gives you everything you need, or a place where you feel like you're a part of what's happening, or you understand your local government, you know your government's priorities, all the things that come with, I guess, small town living in that respect, I absolutely think we should hold on to in Doraville. And our small businesses, as I mentioned before, they're part of the fabric of this community, so we want to hold on to that as much as possible. I don't want us to be the next Chambly or the next Brookhaven. I want us to be the next best version of Doraville, and that includes a lot of our small businesses and a lot of our existing established neighborhoods. We need to hold on to that feeling. Thank you.
I think keeping Doraville facade the way Doraville used to look, that changed a long time ago. I've been here since the late 80s, and Doraville doesn't look anything like it looked back in the 80s. The future of Doraville will be dictated by City Council and how they approach the development of the downtown section, and also the business needs of the development over the GM property, and the people that move it, that we attract to the city, and the people that live in the city. By a collaborative effort with City Council, working with the community, and working with businesses you want to attract to the city, that's will be the future shape of Doraville. And that's, you know, if you want to call that country in the city, then it's country in the city, but it's actually what Doraville's known for, is an all-inclusive community that has room at the table for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you know, Doraville is over 150 years old at this point, and we have a lot of history behind us, and the city has changed with every decade, and it's changed since I moved here in 2001. I think that what I want to see from us, and I think that the character is always going to change because we are part of a larger metro area, we need to be thoughtful about how do we approach those pressures that are going to come to us from Metro Atlanta, from Brookhaven, from Chamblee. How do we plan for them and make sure that we have the growth that we want to see? I think Councilmember Simmons laid it out the best when he was talking about we have a comprehensive plan and we need to have a council that's actually working to implement that plan, because that plan is a document that says, here's what we want to see for our city. This is our vision. Let's take steps to make it happen. And so, you know, that's what I have been doing and that's what I will continue to do.
Mr. Yeoman, I think we're starting with you. Are you in favor of open containers in parks?
It's kind of a, so I guess it would depend on which park. So we've got pocket parks in our community. The answer would be no. We've got neighborhood parks. The answer would be no. But as we look to you know, redevelop certainly the downtown and actually have a vibrant, you know, community space, it makes sense to have an open container district in the downtown area, and part of that will be a park. And we currently have an open container district already at Assembly. There's not that there'd be anything to go over there today to drink for, but there will be a park that we'll be doing a grand opening for here in the spring, and that will be an open container district as well. And so the answer to that question would be it would depend, but certainly not in our neighborhoods.
So my answer is very similar right there. In our community parks, no, like Honeysuckle, Halpern, English Oak, all those, no. But where we can agree on and have an open container district, like if downtown redevelopment has a park there and it's an open container district, then yes, I'm fine with that. Same with Assembly. So if we all vote and agree on an open container district and there's a park in there and that's within the district, then I'm fine with that. But the current community parks that we have, no, I'm not.
I certainly support special event permits in the parks where you can have alcohol for your parties or your neighborhood gatherings. Not just walking down the middle of the street, probably not. I definitely would support an open container district in our downtown or in Assembly, as it already is. I think it just kind of speaks to a larger culture of, I don't want to say celebration. I just think we need to be open, like we were open to changing our restrictions around public art. We need to be open to changing restrictions around alcohol just to make our downtown and our Assembly district a place that people want to come and enjoy. Thank you.
I'd be opposed to having open containers in neighborhood parks. Not a good idea. Those are parks that are there in the neighborhoods for families, children, just for people to enjoy. I don't think that's the place for it. As far as certain segments of the downtown redevelopment, I have no issue with that. And also with the GM property, the redevelopment over there, having open containers is not a bad idea either. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, while I've been in elected office, you know, we had almost no alcohol allowed anywhere. And I think that, you know, no, I don't want to see public drunkenness in our neighborhood parks, but I do think that there is a place for people to enjoy a drink with friends in, you know, a certain setting. So a special event is one thing. Open container district in a place that's sort of geared towards, you know, young people and, you know, more entertainment. I think it makes sense in those types of places, you know, but we've had a lot of successful events here that the city has put on where, you know, there's been some alcohol, and I think they've been very well attended, and those are some of the ones where we've seen more younger people come out. And so I do want to have events that appeal to everybody. I think that there's a place for it. You know, obviously, you know, you've got to have some rules to make sure that, you know, that it doesn't get out of control. But I think that we've done a good job so far of you know, sort of opening things up a little bit.
Does that open container mean a 40 in a brown paper bag, or? We've had events like car shows and special events where you can have a keg, I guess. But I think the city of Doraville is at a crossroads where it can mature into that. But right now, I think we're in a situation where it's a kind of an iffy situation, and depends on the event, and if it's a controlled situation. But right now, we don't have a downtown area where you can walk around with it. It's not Bourbon Street, okay? So anyway, it's for special events. Thank you.
Simmons.
Okay, and starting with Mr. Simmons, how many times have you run for office?
None.
And did you win or lose?
So, previously I ran once and I won. I'm running a second time and I think the odds are good.
This is my first time running for office. Definitely not something I imagined I would do a few years ago, but here I am. I'm excited about it, and I look forward to winning your vote. Thank you.
Never run for office. I'm excited also to serve as your next council person. I think I bring a lot of experience on all kinds of tools to the table. Worked on many large projects throughout the state in my time, and I'd love to bring that experience to the citizens of Doraville. I look forward to your vote. Thank you.
I've had the pleasure of running once for city council and once for mayor. This is my second time running for mayor. We'll see what happens with this race, but I've won every other race I've been in. Thanks.
This question was directed at me. I run for office, and this would be the 6th time. I won. I was on the city council before, and it's not quantity, it's quality. And during that 2 years I was on the city council, I would say, and I would bargain, that I did more in those 2 years than probably the whole city council put together. So give me 4 years and you'll find out what happens.
Not sure what happened while we didn't have a full term, but I run twice. Once officially. The first time I run is for the president of my HOA and the platform that I wanted a dog park, and I won, and we got a dog park. But when I moved to Doraville, I run for the city council seat 4 years ago, and I won with 60% of the vote in a 3-person race without a runoff, so that was good. And I'm decided to run again for re-election, and I appreciate your support.
Next question, Ms. Armistead. What will you do to protect the value and desirability of R1 zoned neighborhoods?
Let's see, so many things. I will definitely try to prioritize investments in infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, streetlights, all the things that our neighborhoods need to maintain. I'm very curious about code enforcement. I've heard untold questions and stories about code enforcement as I'm walking around meeting our residents, and I would love to learn more about what they do. I would love to see monthly reports on the kinds of things that they are writing tickets for, what they're not writing tickets for, what they feel empowered to do, what they don't, how our ordinances are helping them or hindering them, because I think they're an important arm of the city government that can help our neighborhoods thrive. And I would also, like I've said before, work to make our neighborhoods feel more connected and more aware of what's going on in each other's distinct 3 pockets of space in our city. Thank you.
Yes. What will you do to protect the value and desirability of R1 zoned neighborhoods?
So I guess I bank on my experience as being the top code enforcer in the state of Georgia for code enforcement. So I'd say I have a little bit of experience there and a very high success rate. So I would approach it from the approach we use on a state level, and I've worked with attorneys in our office on problems that have come up, code problems that have come up, big issues, small issues. So what I would do is I'd go through and find out where are the pockets of, in each neighborhood, what pockets are the worst pockets that we're having issues with, identify those, work with the code officials on finding some kind of resolution. Because there has not been a resolution. As I go around also through the neighborhoods talking to residents, there has been no resolution to a lot of long-standing problems. It's time that the council, and I'll work with the council, if elected, to solve these problems, because it's time to solve the problems for the people that live in the neighborhoods, and that will keep the values and property values in R1 in a good place. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I guess we had a council meeting last night. We were talking about permits, like open permits for people who have houses that need to be repaired or fixed. And the council has taken actions to try to speed that process along and not let people just leave permits open so that their houses can be, junky, shells for years and years, and they just keep letting the permit continue on and on. And we have seen some success, like there are houses being demolished because they are no longer able to just sit there empty and with the owner kind of trying to put together money to fix it, or I don't know why some of these houses stay abandoned for so long. So I think we have been trying to work to address this issue. I think the other thing is, really by following our comprehensive plan, again, to sound like a broken record, that is the way that we enhance the value of everywhere in our city. And, that is what I'm laser focused on. So I think we are working on continuing to maintain our R1 neighborhoods, and we will continue to do so.
The comprehensive plan does just the opposite. It does not protect the R1 neighborhoods. It encroaches on the R1 neighborhoods. A perfect example is in our neighborhood on Chestnut, as well as what used to be the Star Towers project. The entire neighborhood signed a petition to stop this kind of thing. The environment of Doraville is being compromised. Its tree canopy, GDOT is saying that Doraville is in trouble because of the transportation environment and its loading on the city. And the first thing you need to do, you need to have a building official that enforces the codes, and the code enforcement needs to come under the office of the building official. You need to have a stormwater director that inspects all the storm and the runoff, okay? We don't have any of those things now. We have 4 planners, none of them are certified, and they're not looking after the R1 neighborhoods. That's the reason why all these complaints about 50 people living in the house, they've subdivided, they've closed in the carport, put 2 front doors on it. None of those things meet the building codes. The other thing is that the city council lowered the definition of R1, making the houses smaller and changing the setbacks that don't meet the fire codes in the city. We need to restructure this city and the building department in this city and start building quality residential single-family homes. Thank you.
Sure. So the question that has come up a lot since I've been elected. You know, I get emails and questions from the community about the value of the single family neighborhood. And I guess that to answer that question, you'd have to ask a question back to the person that's asking that, is what is the value of a neighborhood? I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the value of my home because I happen to like my home and I don't want to move and I like my community. The things that I value in my community are things like recreation, the parks in my community, the businesses that I'm able to frequent and that are within close distance to my home. I value things like, I know particularly in the Northwoods neighborhood, they value their community. They've got a very strong community, the NANA community organization, and people move to those areas because of the community. Sometimes I think I'm lost when I get these questions about the value, protecting the value of single family homes, because that depends on what they value, and it isn't always the value of your home.
So there's so many ways to answer this question, and a lot of the answer to it is it takes time, of course. We've been working as a council on responsibility of stormwater. I know we've been jetting all the stormwater to keep the pipes clean, and it's deteriorated over time because nothing was done previously. So, you know, we've been working on stormwater because we know that helps keep the value of the neighborhood there. We've also been working on codes and ordinances. You know, when we're very open as a city council and listen to what the community says, look at what our codes say, and try to make it work. Of course, it takes time. When you write up someone, they have to go to court, municipal court, and different places to make sure, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty, in a sense. So we've been working with code and ordinances. And then also we've been working on short-term vacation rentals, which is also something in our community that we're starting to see. So we're working there, and it's going to take some time, but we're trying.
Our next question, what would you do to make our neighborhood streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists? And we will start with Mr. Crawford. What would you do to make our neighborhood streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists?
From what I see around the city's done an excellent job on addressing that issue by putting in, using the money that the mayor has gotten from Washington, I assume, to further enhance the safety for pedestrians in the city. I think that's important that it happen, and you have a city that you want people to be able to bike and walk in the downtown redevelopment. I think that perhaps looking at a way to connect the upper part of Doraville, downtown Doraville, to the assembly plant will be helpful. My ideas on adding some building as possible. But yeah, I think that the city has made good headway, and I'd like to see the city continue to move in that direction, and I'd love to be part of the team that helps that. Thank you.
Well, I'll say whatever happens with me, I think we've got a city council that really cares about pedestrian safety and pedestrian connectivity. Winners Chapel Hill, I mean, that was a massively dangerous place for pedestrians, for people who needed to get from one side of the street to the other to get to MARTA. Our city council had the vision and foresight to make sure that was one of our SPLOST projects. It, you know, has a hot crossing, repaved it, made it much safer, built in a sidewalk, and that's one of the projects I hear the most about. We also put in a hot crossing on Chestnut Road. We've fixed Oak Cliff Road to make that an easier place so that drivers aren't veering off into the sidewalk. You know, we've really been focused on this. It's not easy. We are in a very car-centric culture. You've got to, you know, build the roads for people and cars. But we are working at it and trying to do what we can to make it safer. So, so I want to thank our city council for that, and I'm sure we will continue to work on that.
When I worked on the GDOT project with the governor's office in Georgia, was connect the city together with traffic lights and sidewalks. And I organized the first sidewalk that was built by the city of Doraville, which is on Chestnut. All the other previous sidewalks were built by DeKalb County. We talk about a crosswalk on Chestnut. The thing that we need to look at first before we look at any for the adults, we need to look at the children. There is a crosswalk that has been in Pineland for the last 40 years that has always had a crossing guard and a policeman. That's the school zone. We put a crosswalk down to the park for a couple of people at the park, but we left out the 50 children standing in the dark with the cars flying through the intersection. The bus drivers are complaining about it. We need to put the traffic lights in the city, for instance, Central Avenue and Chestnut, so people could get downtown from our neighborhood. That was in the project that I worked on, but the city dropped it and didn't put the light in. We need a traffic light at English Oak that connects New Peachtree Road. That's also in the GDOT plan. We have taken these plans that are already existing and we have ignored all of them. We're not keeping the children safe, and we're putting in personal little crosswalks in for a small park, but we're not taking care of the people here. That's what I plan to do day one. Thank you.
Sure, so thank you for that question. First, just so everyone knows, the city cannot put stoplights on Beaufort Highway. It's a state highway. And I would agree, we need to make Beaufort Highway more safer, and we should be working with our partners like GDOT to make that happen. But I guess to answer that question specifically, this has been, in the last 4 years, we have built a sidewalk on Aztec, which was grant funded. The city paid very little money for that, actually. We finally finished the sidewalk on Winters Chapel Road in 2019, right before actually I was in office. They finally finished the sidewalk on Tilly Mill Road. So there's priorities in the city. They will continue to come up. And I will say this has been one of the most difficult things that I've had to deal with since I've been on council is we've had 2 people killed on Winters Chapel Road in the last 12 months. And we had someone in a wheelchair that was run over by a dump truck and killed on the access road on Peachtree Industrial. You don't read about these stories in the newspaper. WSB doesn't cover them, but we get the emails. And sometimes we get very gruesome details, and it's been very, very hard. Particularly the one on the access road on Peachtree Industrial, and I'll be working very hard in the next 4 years to finish that sidewalk segment.
So, to carry on with Mr. Yeoman said, I'm there with you on that sidewalk on Peachtree Industrial, on that access road. But we did stop signs right there on Tilly Mill and Woodland Road, right there in front of Hightower Elementary with speed bumps. We're working on the sidewalk over there on Flowers where they're redoing everything on the back end. We are working on connectivity and sidewalks and lighting, which is a big factor on Motors Industrial right underneath MARTA to take it down to Assembly. So we are doing this, and it just takes time and money. We're using our SPLOS money to help out. We're working with grants from Senator Ossoff's office. We're also working on an SSD, and if you watch the meeting Wednesday, you'll see more on that, at SSD back on the tank farms for all the roads that they're tearing up back there behind Winters Chapel, Flowers Road, all the roads back there, and help them, that will help us get those roads cleaner and safer. We're also working with our staff to help them go out for more grants to help with this, so thank you.
I agree with what's been said before. I'm really pleased with the prioritization of this by the city. I love seeing the new sidewalks. I love the new crosswalk on Chestnut Drive when I walk my dog. I'm pleased that the city's willing to consider all of these greenway trails and working on those. We're so lucky to have things like MARTA in our city, and we're going to be lucky to have this redeveloped downtown, but we need to think about how people are going to get to those places, and I think that that is top of mind for our current council, and I think that's great, is, you know, you not only build the thing, but you build the access to the thing. I've also heard from so many people knocking on doors about speeding traffic. I'm not sure what the solutions are to that problem, if it's more speed bumps, if it's more police patrols, traffic calming, which is always a hot button topic. But I've heard that in every neighborhood that I've been to, so if you think it's just your street, you're not alone, and I would try to find some solutions to that issue as well.
Speed bumps. It's important to get speed bumps. I also knocking on a lot of doors and people are complaining about traffic, speeding down taxi cabs, panel trucks with ladders and wheelbarrows on top of them that are above the height that's allowed within the city. A park that's over in our neighborhood where kids are walking to the park alone and cars are speeding up and down that street all the time. You put speed bumps over there, we need to identify those areas that need to have the speed bumps. People are gonna slow down. That's what's gonna happen when you have the speed bumps. Speed bumps we put strategically be put in places that they do the best. And over in Northwoods, I've been knocking and campaigning over in Northwoods. There's areas over there where when I'm campaigning, there's, you know, panel trucks that are going by. You know, during the event, I see a panel truck that had 4 ladders on it and 2 wheelbarrows barreling up the street. So those needs to be dealt with, and I'd be happy to help council do that. Thank you.
All right, this is going to be our final question, and that is, can you work with all levels of management, city workers, and neighbors with the same respect? And do you agree to have regular communication with Doraville residents?
Who's first? Who's first? I think Tom. I think you went first last time because we ended here, so Tom.
Yes.
You're up. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
I got out of.
If you haven't guessed, I'm Deb Suck. Okay. Okay, work with all levels of, when I was on the city council, I worked with every department in the city. I went in the morning, had coffee with City Hall at 7 o'clock in the morning, built a sidewalk, did the reader over at the library. I worked in every department there. I know how all of them function, or how they're supposed to function. Regular communication with the city is primary. That's the reason why I would reopen the mayor's office at City Hall. When you have somebody answer the phone, you had a person, I always answer the telephone, so you would have some connection with the city. These are 2 primary things to put the city back in communication with its citizens and its businesses. You don't have that, all you do is you're just dialing, pushing a number, and they put you on, and they never call you back, okay? So that's primary for me, thank you.
So, being a council member is hard, because you're one of 7 people. You're one voice of 7 people, and it's not as simple as one person going to City Hall and having coffee with the staff and telling them what to do. I believe that I've worked well with the city staff and certainly the members on council. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, I think the council works well together. There's no more sideshows and arguing amongst the council members and stuff that has existed in the past. And I hope that continues in this election and future elections. And so in terms of the residents, I actually had an agenda item last night on the meeting, because no, I don't think the city has done a good job in engaging residents. And too many times I think we think that a newsletter or a Facebook post fixes those issues. And what we're finding, particularly in our community, is it's very hard to reach the 95% of the community that's out there, and we need to do a better job as a city of doing that.
What was the second part of the question?
Second part is, do you agree to have regular communication with Doraville residents?
Okay, thank you. So in regards to the first question, it was treating all levels the same.
Right, all levels of management, city workers, and neighbors with the same respect.
Yes, and if you know me, that's exactly what I do. We're all on the same level to me. No one's better than the other. We all have the same common goal and the same purpose. And ever since, I've worked since I was 13 at different levels, from down here to up there, and it doesn't change you as a person just because you have a different job. So I do respect everyone for the job they do, because without them, we couldn't function as a city. Everyone has a part in the city. And then staying engaged with the community. If you've met me, you know I'm very open. I've always listened. I'm always open, and my email address, of course, is on the website. If you need to get in contact with me, I'm always available. I work from my house, so I can be there within a few minutes. My email's always open, and the residents here in Doraville know that I will listen and respond. So, thank you.
In answer to the first part of the question, yes, I already have good working relationships with a lot of the council members and city staff just from my involvement on committees and with the neighborhood association, and just being a generally involved citizen. So yes, I feel confident that I could work well with all of those different constituents. And inclusivity in neighborhoods is very important to me. The Northwoods Neighborhood Association has grown its membership hugely. In the past few years, we're really focusing on bringing in neighbors that have not been involved before. So yes, I believe that everybody's input is valuable. And in that regard, I'm absolutely committed to being open and accessible to residents. It's not easy. It's easy to say that, but I'm learning as I'm campaigning that it's really hard to get information out in multiple channels and multiple languages and multiple platforms. But I would keep that top of mind because it's so important. You can't just put up a Facebook post and expect that to do the job. Thank you.
I agree with Warren and everybody else up here. I think everybody sitting at this table up here is a group of respectful people. And I think it shows respect in your actions. I have, in the position I hold as a chief inspector with the state, it's a senior management position. I interact with senators, legislators, business leaders, executive office down at my office down there by the Capitol, and interacting with them is one thing. Interacting with my inspectors is the same thing. It's respect. I have respect for everybody that I work with, business leaders, stakeholders, it's all the same. And I think that communicating with the residents, part of my campaign pledge to the community is that every other month I'll hold a neighborhood meeting to find out what their concerns are and how we can do things better and what things we are doing right. Thank you.
Well, first off, I hope everybody in this room feels like, and watching, feels like they can connect with me. I know I've received phone calls, text messages, emails from many people. I always try to respond as quickly as possible. We did make a decision several years ago to go to a city manager form of government. I was a huge proponent of that because I think we do need professionals who are managing City Hall. That's why I gave up the mayor's office when I became mayor, because I think it's more important for us to have a professional conference room where city council, where our city staff can meet with people and have a more collaborative discussion than, the mayor sitting at a table and everybody else kind of sitting around in sort of a formation in front of that person. This is a tough job. This is a part-time job, but it's also a full-time job, and I don't think I fully grasped that when I first took it. I do have a full-time job as well, and sometimes balancing everything is difficult, but I do my best to be accessible to our residents, to our business owners, to the people who want to open businesses in Doraville. And you know, it's tough to find balance, but I have put aside a lot of other personal things to be able to do this job, and I've decided to do it for another 4 years. So I hope you'll have me. Thank you.
Okay. Just very quickly before we close out, just information about elections. Advanced voting does start on October 16th and will go through November 3rd. And election day, of course, November 7th. And if you're here in Doraville, we're here in the polling location here at the Civic Center. We're going to give each of our candidates 1 minute again, just to close out, so you can use that time however you would like. And we will, why don't we start on this end and go that way? And so, Mr. Crawford.
Tonight you got a chance to meet all of us and talk to us again and ask the questions you want to ask. And first thing I'd like to do is thank everybody that put on this event and thank my fellow candidates for being here tonight. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight. It shows that you're interested in civic duty, government, form of government. I chose to run because I feel like I can give something back to the community. I gave something back to the community for almost 6 years when I served in the planning commission that I helped set up. I've served the state faithfully for over 27 years. I've served as a senior manager, chief inspector of the safety program for the whole state of Georgia, investigated accidents up in Gainesville at the chicken plant, which unfortunately killed a bunch of people. I have a lot of experience that I can offer this community, and vote for Ben Crawford. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I echo that. I'm so glad you all came tonight. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope that you don't stop asking questions. I am happy to give you my phone number, email, website, all of the things, because all input is good input. I'm so excited to put these ideas that we've talked about tonight in motion. I think this is a great time for Doraville. I am thrilled for this opportunity to be part of our city's growth. I really want each neighborhood in this city to feel represented, heard. I'm ready to do the hard work of listening and hearing the problems and figuring out solutions with all of you. I would be honored to have your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to thank the Chamber for putting this on. Thank you. I'd also like to thank everyone here and on Zoom for watching and participating. Appreciate all the questions. They were very good. I feel like the past year that we've made a lot of progress since I've been on council, and I'd like to continue with the progress in the future. We're going with Doraville. So I would appreciate your vote, and I hope you think that I can keep doing what we're doing here on City Council and moving Doraville in the right direction. And on a playful note, let's go Braves.
Sure, thank you for all of you guys coming out tonight, and thank you for the Chamber for hosting this as well. For anyone that would like to visit City Hall, it's open every day until 4:30. My phone number is area code 678-702-2550. You can give me a call anytime. I'm happy to chat with anyone that ever has any questions or concerns with the city. It's been my pleasure to represent you as your District 1 council member for the last 4 years. And I look forward to what we can do in the next 4 years, very eagerly to see. Real briefly, I mean, we've got over $1 billion in redevelopment that's happening in our city. That includes reactivating the regional job center at the former GM site and long stalled projects. We did a groundbreaking 2 weeks ago for a residential community, and the former Kmart site started construction last week, finally. There's been discussion tonight about, the core and the downtown, and I would say that the city already has a core, and the core is everybody that's in this room. It's all the people that live here and that make this community. And as the work that we have to do in the next 4 years isn't all about the $1 billion in redevelopment and all about the downtown. It's about what we can do to build and strengthen the core of the city, which is everyone in this room and everyone that lives here. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the staff for being so accommodating tonight and being so helpful. And thank everyone here for asking the questions that are so important for the future of the city. I would like to continue the work I did years ago when we were trying to build a town center. I stood in front of a bulldozer and saved the swimming pool for the city because they were going to build apartments on it at the time. It's time to put the city back together. It's trying to put the community back together and to connect them back to the city. You had council meetings where they had 120 people there and the audience was fully participating in those meetings. We need to open the city hall back up so they communicate with the citizens. So when they ask a question about taxes or building a building or having access to the building official, you have someone to talk to. That's not happening right now. We have a town center. We don't have to spend $10 million to do it. You don't have to spend 10 cents. You can put the city back together, a quality city that works for all the citizens here that can be proud of. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to echo everyone and thank the Doraville Chamber for doing this. It's important for us to have civic organizations that are supporting these types of candidate forums so that our residents can hear from all of us. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be your mayor for the last 4 years. I do hope that you'll, if you think that we've been moving the city in the right direction, that you'll support me for the next 4 years. You know, with that said, you definitely have a choice and 2 different visions to vote for next time. But I do think, really, as a 20+ year resident here, I do feel like our city is on a really good path right now. And the reason that I'm running is because I want that path to continue. And I think that stable leadership is important. And so that is why I'm asking you for your vote one more time. And again, feel free to reach out to me anytime. My personal cell phone number is 770-330-5345. You can call or text me, and you can email me at joseph@Geierman, GEIERMAN.net. And that's my personal email, so don't write to me about city stuff on that, but campaign stuff is fun. Thanks.
On behalf of the Doraville Chamber of Commerce, again, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our candidates for coming out. We really appreciate it, and thank you for engaging and responding accordingly. To all of our residents who have come out personally, and for those who are watching us virtually, we'd like to say thank you. Also, on behalf of our co-moderator, for Danielle, who did a phenomenal job, as well as for our timekeeper, Maria Alvarez. We have the girls team in place here, as you can see. We also have Eva Selman, who's in the back, who's been recording all of this for us. So we thank you, Eva, for coming out. And while she's not a resident of Doraville, she is definitely a staunch supporter. So we thank you for your time. We also want to thank the DART community because they gave up their space tonight for us, allowing us to be in this space. And so we're grateful for that. For all of you, again, we thank you. We thank you. We wish all of you much success as you continue to campaign. And we just ask for all of you to be safe. And thank you so much for this evening. We appreciate it.